Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to today's live discussion from the Bhagavad Gita as it is. We are on chapter 10, the opulence of the absolute, and we have covered up to verses 11. Today we'll be covering from verses 12 onwards. Verse 12 and 13. Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adideva Majam Vibhum Ahustvam Rishaya Sarve Devarshi Naradas Tatha Asito Devalo Vyasah Swayam Chaiva Bravishime. Arjun said, "You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages such as Narad, Asit, Deval and Vyas confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me." Verse 14. Sarvametad ritam manye yanmam vadasi keshava nahite bhagwan vyaktim vidurdeva nadanava. O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand you, your personality. Verse 15. Swayamevatmana atmanam vetha tvam purushottamam bhuta bhavana bhutesha deva deva jagatpate. Indeed, you alone know yourself by your internal potency, O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe. Translation. Been just done. Now verse 16. Vaktum arhasi asheshena divyahi atma vibhutayaha yabhir vibhutibhir lokan imamsh tvam vyapya tishtasi. So the essence of Bhagavad Gita has been told in the verses 8 to 11 of this chapter 10 by Krishna. Now Arjun is saying to Bhagwan that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead in verses 12 and 13, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages such as Narad, Asit, Deval and Vyas confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me. So in verses 12 and 13, Bhagwan is actually clearing to everyone that the Supreme, he is different than the individual soul. So now Arjun has been dispelled of all his doubts by hearing the verses 8 to 11 from Bhagwan, that Bhagwan is the Param Brahma. So he is also declaring this boldly, that Bhagwan is the Supreme. He is the originator of everything, and all the demigods and every human being, everything is dependent on the Lord. And the ignorance is removed in all of us by the perfect devotional service rendered by us. Now that devotional service is also going to only come when once you have understood that Supreme only way out of all miseries of this universe is through the rendering of the devotional service to the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In 18.66, we will further read in verse 66 of chapter 18, where Krishna is going to reveal Arjun again by saying that famous verse, Sarv Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarv Papebhyo Moksheshami Ma Shuchah. And in these verses 12 to 14, we can see Arjun's understanding, which is now coming into his verses, as he is saying. In verse 72 of chapter 18 also, Arjun is going to speak about the individual devotional service. And he will also say that his Krishna will tell Arjun that his Arjun has been his doubts and everything has been dispelled, has been taken away after hearing all of the Gita. In the Vedas, the great sages as Narad, Asit, Deval, they all have confirmed this, that Bhagwan is the supreme. And we should all meditate upon him, and we should have a transcendental relationship with Bhagwan. In chapter 4, we are again reminded in the purport by Prabhupada that Krishna said that although I am unborn, I appear on this earth to establish religious principles. That famous verse, Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya, that one. And Bhagwan is the cause of all causes, and everything is emanating from him. And then again, this perfect knowledge can only be heard through the mercy of the Lord himself. So we should always try to understand Bhagavad Gita from somebody who is coming from the disciplic succession, who has understood from their guru, and the guru is eventually coming down from the Krishna. Everything starts from Krishna and it comes slowly down to from one acharya to other to the present acharya. In our case here, our Shiksha Guru is Srila Prabhupada, because he has explained to us Bhagavad Gita as it is. In verse 14, Bhagwan Arjun says, O Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither demigods nor demons, O Lord, can understand your personality. So though Arjun was a intimate friend and also a great devotee of Lord, but he surrendered to Krishna in chapter 2. And when we read that verse, Shishyaste Shadhi Mam Tvam Prapannam, and also everything should be understood in the parampara system. Arjun is actually trying to revive this parampara system which had become broken. And during this explaining of Bhagavad Gita to Arjun, this system was established again of the disciple and the guru. Here Adi Guru himself, Krishna, is imparting all the knowledge to Arjun. In verse 15, Arjun continues to Lord that you alone know yourself by your own internal potency, O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe. So Lord can only be understood by the discharge of the devotional service. It is by chanting his holy names, by offering devotional service to him, by offering bhoga to him, by offering food to him, and then by taking the remnants of that food as prasad, by offering all the articles of the arti in the form of dhoop, deep, that is air, fire, then the cloth, which is also an article of offering. We offer the flowers, and we accept the remnants, the fragrance of that flower which is offered to Lord, and the fan. So, and the arghya, the water is also offered. So all the 5 elements are offered, and the remnants are taken as in the form of prasad. So this is how devotional service is done. And also, apart from deity worship, it is very important to read the Shastras as well and discuss about them amongst your family members or your fellow devotees, or wherever you can get some association. So these are the ways how the devotional service is given to the Lord. And the Lord is in the form of Paramatma in all of us, in our hearts. Supreme truth is realized in 3 aspects. We repeat again and again as impersonal Brahman, then localized as Paramatma, and at last as Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the final understanding is the understanding that Lord is the form of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So whichever way a person is able to understand God in the beginning, it's fine, because this is how they will gradually make the progress. Maybe in this life, maybe in the subsequent lives. Arjuna addresses Bhagwan as Bhut Bhavan because he's the father of all the living beings, father of all the living entities, and he's a supreme controller. And that's why Arjuna is addressing Bhagwan as Bhutesh, the supreme controller of everyone. That's why he's also addressed as Deva Deva, because he's the controller and is the origin of all the demigods, all the species. So he's worshipful God of all, even the demigods as well. So that's why in 15th verse he's been addressed as Deva Dev. And he is the supreme proprietor of everything. So he is the Jagatpati. He's also addressed as the Jagatpati. So this is the realization of Arjun, that Bhagwan is Bhut Bhavan. He is the father of all the living entities. He is the supreme controller, that is, he's the Bhutesha. And thirdly, he's Deva Deva. He's the most worshipful Lord of everyone, including the demigods. And Bhagwan, he is also the Jagatpati. He is the supreme proprietor of everything. So now we move to verse 16. And in verse 16, Arjuna is saying to Bhagwan that please tell me in detail of your divine opulences by which you pervade all these worlds. So Arjuna is completely understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, by Krishna's grace himself. So without Bhagwan's mercy, we cannot understand anything. He understands everything about Bhagwan, but still he is asking about the Lord's pervading nature, and actually he is asking for others so that others can be very clear in their knowledge about this, especially the ones who do not understand Bhagwan as a person, who understand Bhagwan only as an impersonal person, impersonal being, a person which has got no form. So Arjuna is asking for their benefit. This thing that please explain to me your divine opulences or your divine Aishwaryas. So this is actually for the common people's benefit, Prabhupada also says here. And we will continue now from verse 17 next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. Today is the last day of the Kartik of this year and the last day of the Bhisham Panchak as well. Please offer the Malti flower to God's head. If you haven't got Malti flower, you can always do it in your mind. And please offer your ghee lamps. And happy Ras Purnima to all of you. Happy Kartik Purnima to all of you. I wish you all a very blissful week ahead. And this all-merciful month of Srimati Radharani comes to an end. Now the month of Keshava will begin, like we call it Margshish or December from tomorrow. So thanks for your company. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.